Hey, what's going on, everybody? Well, welcome back to another video, and today, well, we're going to be focused on this outdoor rescue pond that we were keeping red-eared sliders in and other things. This pond has actually been turned down for over a year now, and it's time to get this thing back going again because it's now springtime in Texas. And well, if you haven't been around for a while, let's flash back to when we put this thing together with Finatic when he was just a youngin'.
What is on your pants right there? Did you get dirty? Like, you got your phone in your...
Well, the fact that you just displaced about 15 cubic feet of water and it didn't bust out the sides is a good sign. Your mouth is so big, though, you probably drank about half of it.
Professional angler Brenton is attempting to illegally catch a 10-pound largemouth bass. And that went over like a turd in a punch bowl. Such a fun time, but it's time to get this thing going again. We did, as you will see, as we're cleaning this pond out, we used a couple of products from one of our favorite companies, API. We're using some Pondzyme Sludge Destroyer and some of that API pond and waterfall cleaner. This stuff is great. It actually completely, which I didn't film this other than on a time lapse, but it cleaned this pond so well. It was so filthy, as you can see here. It's just absolutely disgusting. So it did a fantastic job. We're now draining all the water out of it. As there was nothing in here, we were just cleaning it, and once this water is drained, we'll get this thing going. Okay, well, I got most of the sludge completely cleaned out of the bottom of this, so there's still some that's left, but that's okay. For the most part, it's pretty clean. So I'm gonna let this fill up slowly, and we'll treat this water here in just a little bit. But while this is filling up, let's go ahead and work on the filtration and getting that back going. And if you guys remember, we did this filtration in just a little plastic tote. We're gonna maintain this, but we do need to clean it out. So we have some pads in here that help with the mechanical filtration, and then of course we have all of our biological filtration in the form of these lava rocks. This thing hasn't ran for a while, so we're gonna go ahead and fully clean this out. So I'm gonna go grab a tub, we're gonna dump this out and get all this cleaned up. We have this thing now cleaned out. We're gonna go ahead and drop our pump back in here. We put this basket around it to make sure that it doesn't suck up any of this biological. Let's go ahead and get our mats back on here. And one of the deepest parts of this pond actually sits right here. So we always put that filtration box right here. It also kind of hides it. We can cover it in plants and things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this bucket though with water so it does not float away. Let's go ahead and let this thing fill up, and while it does, we'll get to working on the land section. So what we're looking at here is a bunch of overgrown stuff that we want to get rid of. Anyway, we're going to get rid of most of it. If you look back up in this corner, right up in here, we have all these vines that are growing in here. This stuff is called Carolina snail seed, and I was going to completely just get rid of all of it, but I don't know that I'm going to. I think I'm going to leave that section over there because it's kind of growing up, and I may leave this section that is right here as well because it's kind of growing up the wall. So we're probably just going to take all of this out and leave these corners in here. So right behind the camera is a live oak tree. It's dropped some acorns and they've sprouted some seedlings, but we don't want those. So we're gonna get rid of them. You know, in all honesty, I think I'm gonna take out this Carolina snail seed. That's just simply because it does grow really fast. Well, this thing is full of water. The water needs to be treated and dechlorinated, but it's pretty clear. So I'm happy with that. The cleanup process went well. We did go ahead and add a UV clarifier, an inline UV clarifier. So the water pumps through that. There is a UV light in there that kills any algae that's in the water. It'll keep this water from getting green. We put this on, you know, in the past when we've ran this pond, and it works out really good. So right now we're gonna leave this be. We'll come back and actually treat this water here in a little while. But now let's focus on this terrestrial area. I need to run out and actually get some plants for it. I mean, it is not traditional to have this stuff with the fish, but you know what? We're gonna do it because look at this. These things already have tomatoes on them, and let me look at this one. It's crazy. So we're gonna do this, guys. We're gonna turn this not only into a breeding setup for fish, but we're also gonna produce food with it. So let's pick one of these out and get it home. We're also gonna grab one of these jalapeno trees. Look at that. Yes. Take this one right here, maybe. Yep, perfect. I actually kind of want some of this rosemary as well. Well, we're doing something that we traditionally don't do on the channel, and we're actually gonna be growing vegetables. And not only that, but we're gonna be growing them with fish poop. So let's go see how this turns out. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of all of this. So we thought we were gonna save it, but we're not, and that's okay. So let's get the basic stuff out of the way first. So first thing is some creeping Jenny, and I bought this. It's not for the edible portion of this garden, but creeping Jenny actually does really well in aquariums, terrariums, and things like that. So we're actually going to grow this for use in our aquariums. Some fresh dill, smells delicious. A couple rosemaries, poblanos, sweet basil, some thyme. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. That's an airplane plant. Well, we'll grow that. Actually, we'll throw that into the pond and let that sit there. Tomato plant, which actually, interestingly enough, already has tomatoes growing on it, which is good. And finally, a jalapeno plant, which also has jalapenos growing on it. And in fact, one of these is ready. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think they're hot? Let's wash it off. Give it a good wipe down. Oh my God. Oh. That was a mistake. A real I'll be back. I've now recovered. I like hot food. Whoa, but that was really hot. Really hot. Wow. Okay, let's get back into this. So we're actually gonna start right over here because I wanna put all of my fruit-bearing type. Good Lord, there is another recluse and a whole nest of isopods. Look at all of those isopods right there. So back to what I was saying, I'm going to put my actual fruit-bearing plants over here, and we will start. This thing has got nice roots in it, and we're gonna go ahead and get this thing in here. Now before we go any further, I want to go ahead and prune this thing because there are already tomatoes growing, and what you have to do is you have to remove what's called the suckers. And if you look in here, this right here is the main stem. This is a leaf, like a grow leaf, and then this little thing right here in the middle is actually called a sucker, and you just want to pinch that off because it's not going to grow anything and it's taking up valuable nutrients from the soil. So anything below it we're going to take out, get rid of it. You can see a little one growing right there. We'll take that one out, and down here out, one there, and I think we got them all out. Then we'll come check this guy too, and this one's only got one which is right here. Pop that dude out and we are good to go. Now I want to go ahead and put our cage around this thing. That way it has something to hold on to as it grows upward. We're going to do the same thing with a jalapeno plant. Speaking of jalapenos, good Lord, that thing was spicy. We're going to go ahead and add this cage to it. All right. So that takes care of the pepper plants. Now we're going to go ahead and add this little poblano. So we need to go ahead and dechlorinate this water, and what we're going to be using is another API product, and that is Aqua Essential, and this one is specifically for ponds. So it's super concentrated, 50 ml for 500 gallons. I don't have a measuring cup with me, so I'm going to use a top from another product and start dumping this in here. So we do want to shake it really well, actually. So now that we have it dechlorinated, we're going to go ahead and add another API product, and that is going to be some API Quick Start. This is not actually formulated for ponds, but it will go ahead and quick start this thing because we did take out all the beneficial bacteria as soon as we put all this chlorinated water in here and cleaned out the filtration and everything else. So we'll add this, we'll ghost feed for a couple of days before we actually check the parameters and make sure we can safely add fish to it. Let's go ahead and add some of this. We'll also put some pre-cycled filter media in here that will help with that, guys. We need to just wait it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and water plants with fish tank water from inside, and we'll let this thing sit, and I'll see you guys back here in a few days. All right, guys, well, we are back out here. It's been a couple of days. We have been watering, and we probably could go ahead and water a little more right now. These look like they're a little dried out or starting to dry out. So we'll get some water on these guys in just a minute, but overall they are looking good. We have a couple of more peppers that are showing up. We have a bunch of blooms for peppers. Everything is looking great. As far as the pond goes, it is still really clear, which looks great. We've done some water tests. The levels are really good, so it's almost time to add some fish, but we're going to put some pre-cycled media inside of this tub to make sure that everything goes well. We don't want any of the fish to die that we put in here. But before we go any further, really, I want to add some driftwood to this. And it's just for the hides, for the fish and things like that. And since we don't have the land area connected anymore for aquatic animals, we are going to add this driftwood. So let's go ahead and add this driftwood to this thing now and see what it looks like. Now, as far as this driftwood goes, this was actually what was in our 300-gallon tank when we had that up and running. And we put it in our outdoor pond at one point. So we're going to go ahead and add this like right here, and that thing is weighted down with a piece of stone, so it will stay down as it soaks in that water. What we also want to do is we had these hides that were in here before, and they are just terracotta pots. So we're going to go ahead and just rinse these guys out, and then we're just going to add these back in here. We'll just put these in here randomly, regardless of what type of fish go in here. These will be good for hides, and they'll keep them feeling safe. The driftwood will also provide hides for any fish. I'm also going to add a few stem plants. These may die because there's not a whole lot of nutrition in here, but we want to see what happens with them. Can they sustain life in here right now? And if they don't, it's not that big of a deal. We'll add a few stem plants. We added those stem plants. We're going to grab a couple more. So we're going to go ahead and add some of this grassy plant. I'm not sure. I don't remember what this is called, but it does really well. So we'll see how it does in here. Let that drop in there. So this is actually an Amazon sword, and this is submerged growth leaves. So if you look on the screen now, I'm going to show you, this is what you normally buy an Amazon sword looking like, but that's because it was grown with the roots submerged, but the leaves actually outside in the air. And that is not aquatic growth. So what happens is when you drop that into your tank, all those leaves are going to die off, and these are what's going to grow back. So this is fully ready to go into an aquarium, and there will be no further death of this. So we're going to drop this in here. We're going to float a Java fern in there, and then one of my favorite Anubiases, which this is growing like crazy, but look at the size of this. This is an Anubias fraseri, and these things are great because they get so big, and these are also super hardy be plants. So we're gonna drop this in here and see how this does. We'll make sure all of those plants actually do okay and they're growing okay before we add anything else. We're gonna add some nutrition and things of that nature to this pond. And once the fish get in here, of course, the plants will feed off of that. But right now, we just wanna see how those do before we add fish. So we'll leave those in here for now. And well, with that, guys, this thing is pretty much done. We may add a couple more things. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and add a few fish just to keep some sort of bio load in here. They're gonna be super small goldfish, but let's grab some of those now. All right, guys, well, we were gonna put some pond comets in here, but unfortunately, the turtles didn't want to share their friends. Well, that's because in complete honesty, there are no friends left, and that's just a part of life, I guess. You know, I thought that they were going to actually be really good friends, and in fact, if you want to watch that video where we stocked that turtle pond with all those fish, you can click a link right above and go watch that. But we're going to have to go get some pond comets and stock this thing with pond comets. But here's my question. What do you think we should stock this thing with? We're not going to put thousands of pond comets in here. I want to put some fish in here, but I want your opinion. What do you think we should put in here? It's about 700 gallons, and I want your feedback. One of the things I know I'm going to put in here is gambusia or mosquito fish, and that's just because they reproduce and they're good feeder fish, but I am going to put some of those in there, I'm pretty sure. But what else should I put in here? Go ahead and comment below and let me know, and if I pick your fish and you're the first person that commented that fish in an unedited comment, I'm going to go ahead and give you a free piece of Christopher Scott merch. So comment as many times and as many different fish as you want to comment, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to win a piece of Christopher Scott merch. So with that, guys, let's get out and grab some pond comets to go in here. And we're talking about little tiny ones, you know, like 1 inch to 1.5 inch pond comets. We're just going to grab a handful. We just want to keep the bio load up in here until we get time to actually stock this thing in the next video. So let's go grab some of these little pond comets now. Well, we went and picked up some pond comets, and we're gonna go ahead and get these guys in here. We'll let them sit and temperature acclimate for a little while, and then we'll go ahead and get all of these fish into this pond right now. Well, we already have these guys acclimated, and we're gonna go ahead and get them in here. This water I'm putting in this pond is not the water from this bag. I removed all of that over time, replacing it with all pond water so I could just dump them in. So we are gonna go ahead and get these guys in here. Well, listen, hopefully you went on to enjoy this video, and the next video we're going to be stocking this thing with fish. And in fact, that video is already filmed. The fish have been in there and they're all doing fantastic. So make sure you enter the giveaway for the Christopher Scott merch by commenting in individual comments as many types of fish as you think we should put in here. And the first one to get the fish right, and there could be multiple winners, the first person to get the fish right with an unedited comment will receive a free piece of Christopher Scott merch. So make sure you comment as many times as you want below, and I will announce that in the next video where we stock this thing with fish. And like I said, it's already filmed. Everything is good to go. So I also picked up a bunch of little creatures at Aquashella this week, and that video is being filmed now. So we got a lot of content coming out. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that now. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of this content. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Links to both are down below. And hey, with that, we will see you next time.